Crunchyroll is the Netflix of anime in the West. It is the premier way to watch anime legally. The website began in 2006. At this time, pirated content was all Western fans had. People translated anime for fun, not for profit. Crunchyroll was one of those websites you could watch pirated anime on. They were looked down upon because they accepted donations, but they allegedly made $75,000 a year. Crunchyroll's most egregious offense was paying their translators only $80 an episode. This is a fixed number, so no matter if the episode has hundreds or thousands of words, or if the dialogue is complex, they will only be paid $80. It could take hours or days to finish a single episode, and these translators are not credited by Crunchyroll. They are constantly under a time crunch depending on the anime release cycle, and that was 14 years ago. They are still being treated poorly today. Crunchyroll successfully buried this controversy, at least until TheCanipaEffect called them out. He made a great video, which I'll link below. Now that Crunchyroll is the most successful anime localizer in the West, what are they doing with that fame? Well, lately, Crunchyroll Originals. Why? This has to be the worst promotional campaign I've ever seen. Where did they go wrong? In 2018, they confidently announced their first original, High Guardian Spice. It is an anime-inspired cartoon entirely made by Americans. Crunchyroll formed their own studio just for the cartoon, and they touted themselves as a diverse and mostly female staff.
Modern reflection of the world. Our characters are really diverse, our cast is really diverse, and that's one of the things that excited me the most about it.
People are really excited about what the show is and what it represents. We are 50% female in all the creative roles, and our writer's room is 100% female. I mean, this is what my whole career has been about, is trying to get those voices in there that are not being heard.
The first trailer for High Guardian Spice was met with an overwhelmingly negative response, which was partly because they barely talked about the cartoon. Although the character designs are generic and the story details were very vague, that's not why it was criticized. Rather, it was because the staff only talked about how the production team is diverse and all of the writers are women. Fans were quick to call out the hypocrisy. The studio boasted about how diverse the staff was, but only white people were shown in the trailer. People also criticized High Guardian for being entirely unrelated to what Crunchyroll was known for, anime. It is presented like a Disney Channel special made for preschoolers, which isn't something that people want to pay for. How can Crunchyroll employees praise the company for giving them a chance to create something to empower women when the website hosts anime like this? I find it hypocritical how the High Guardian Spice team talks about how Crunchyroll allowed them to make a diverse cast when Crunchyroll also hosts Terraform Mars, one of the most racist anime ever made. High Guardian Spice seems like the most inoffensive and unremarkable cartoon that Crunchyroll could produce. I'm sure it will be just fine, but it is the way that they're using it as a tool to positively change their image, or try to, and it is so misleading. It is a transparent public relations campaign made to pander towards Western audiences. It was blatant virtuosic. Knowing their money was being funneled into a cartoon they didn't ask for, subscribers became enraged. Crunchyroll's video streamer is known for frequently breaking, and it's shocking that they'd fund a new production before improving their subscribers' experience. According to the creator, production finished over a year ago. It's unclear where the show is at this point. Crunchyroll may be holding onto it until the controversy subsides, because they never issued a statement following the negative response. I don't want to harp on High Guardian Spice forever, because God knows people already have. Fast forward to 2020. Crunchyroll has announced their entire roster of their originals set to release throughout the next 2 years. They announced their partnership with Lion Webtoon, a graphic novel publisher based in South Korea. Their partnership meant Crunchyroll and Webtoon would be collaborating on the production of certain webtoons. Once they acquired licensing rights to these popular webtoons, Crunchyroll cashed in. Taylor Grant, the Senior Vice President of Intellectual Property Development at Webtoon, said, We're excited to partner with Crunchyroll to bring our globally appealing characters to audiences and consumers in new ways, as well as create new opportunities for our talented creators. They made adaptations of 3 webtoons so far: Tower of God, God of High School, and currently airing Noblesse, each with their own respective issues. Tower of God crammed 78 chapters of the webtoon into a mere 13-episode show. They cut out important parts, which may explain why so many plot threads were left unresolved. Fans claimed it was confusing. The only way to understand the anime without reading the webtoon is to read the wiki. What we have here is an incredibly unfinished anime, and Crunchyroll has not announced a sequel. This anime was not adapted for the fans. The fans clearly didn't care for it anyway. It was adapted to cash in on a popular title. It was made to sell webtoon subscriptions through advertising. The next webtoon they adapted even more shamelessly cashed in on a popular title. God of High School was filled with unnecessary advertising for Crunchyroll and webtoon. Their intentions were obvious: to advertise the webtoons and convince people to buy them. Anime studios often subtly integrate their name into their shows. Unlike artists, Crunchyroll does not care how obnoxious their logo is. Their advertisement is plastered on every side of the God of High School battle arena. Sponsored by Crunchyroll, sponsored by Webtoon, they make sure you never forget who paid for this anime. How ironic that they attached their name to the shittiest anime they funded. How embarrassing for you, Crunchyroll. Even though this anime isn't high art, it is slimy to put your company's name all over the show. Does this show take place in a world where Crunchyroll exists? No, they're just comprised of greedy investors who don't give 2 shits about anime. What we have is a shitty 13-episode trailer for the webtoon. This is an embarrassment for MAPPA, a studio filled with passionate artists, as we've seen in their previous works. The 3rd webtoon they're adapting, Noblesse, suffers from the same problems as the previous 2. It is still ongoing, but it is on track to be their worst original yet. Except for GBAT. I can't criticize this terrible promotional campaign without mentioning GBAT. This anime is the lowest scored full-length TV series on myanimelist.net. Crunchyroll touted it alongside their other originals, as if it was remotely on their level of quality. It was produced by 2 studios that have never made an anime before. GBAT is like a knockoff of The Walking Dead, except with eye-searing 3D animation. Oh my god, why did Crunchyroll greenlight this shit? Mind you, the originals are not good, but GBAT is by far the worst thing they have done yet. We would have all been better off if this never happened. The first year of Crunchyroll's original anime kind of sucked, but there's plenty more next year. In fact, they're coming out with one in January. They could redeem themselves. It is called X-Arm. The premise is interesting. It's a science fiction show from a brand new studio. The director has never worked on an anime in his entire life, let alone directed, but there's a first time for everything. Unfortunately, X-Arm will not be the series to redeem Crunchyroll. All it takes is one glance at the trailer and its gasp-inducing like-to-dislike ratio to know that they're fucked. It's worse than any video on their channel yet, with a staggering 2,000 likes and 22,000 dislikes. That's unprecedented. Even High Guardian Spice had a better ratio before Crunchyroll disabled the ratings. The negative response is entirely deserved. The trailer looks absolutely awful. The CGI is awkward, the visual effects look cheap, and it's littered with animation mistakes. This could be passed off as a high school student's project. If this was a successful campaign, people would be debating which original is the best. Instead, people are comparing which one's the shittiest. Crunchyroll continues to attach their name to terrible anime. They're digging their own grave. They should have listened to the audience and provided something they actually want, not more originals. They make bad decision after bad decision. They hired an animation team who has never worked on an anime before. Make it make sense. They rush productions. They are disappointing their subscribers. Given the terrible way they treat their employees, I'm not surprised they care more about making money than pleasing their customers. They're not even good at least one of those things.